when I started listening to Warren Buffett, he said, you're buying a piece of a business. I was like, hot diggity damn, he's right. So that's it. I just look at Nikola going, this is an absolute joke.
Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be reacting to a Nikola stock analysis that was conducted by a rather popular investing YouTube channel by the name of Everything Money. These guys definitely make some very interesting content that mostly focuses on value investing, so I was personally very surprised when I saw this video pop up on my recommended section where they cover Nikola's latest truck deliveries. Because as we all know, Nikola is far from any type of value stock. And so in this video, I'll be reacting and sharing whether I agree or disagree with the arguments these guys make about Nikola and their most recent customer deliveries. But before we get into it guys, make sure to drop me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already.
So Nikola. So what's the news on Nikola?
Well,
got one, baby.
I was gonna say, yeah. Paul corrected me. Nikola's current truck sales this year is up an infinite. I said 100%, 1,000. Call it what you want. They did
an infinite percent increase from 0 to 1.
What a ride! I mean,
that means they're better than Tesla.
Where can they go?
That is true.
Where can they go from here, Mo? 2 trucks, maybe, or 3?
2 trucks, 3 trucks.
Yes. So Nikola sold their first car. Folks, if you've been on the ride that we have, we're a value investing channel, and every time some Yahoo on YouTube tells you to go buy a stock, we tell you, maybe just pump the brakes, let's take a look. We were saying this in real time with Nikola. Everyone said we were stupid, and of course the crash came when everyone realized they were building basically like papier-mâché trucks with an axle.
Papier-mâché.
Papier-mâché with an extension cord to them.
So what we're here to do is provide you a lifeline that's contrary to everything else you might be seeing on there and saying, wait a minute, let's pump the brakes here, especially on a car company in general, Paul, because thousands of them have not made it. And this influx of EV cars, give us your general thoughts on EV before we get deep into Nikola.
So the main things these guys are debating here is the fact that Nikola went from delivering no trucks in 2020 to delivering 1 truck in 2021. And as we all know, if you've kept up with the news for Nikola over the past month or so, that is simply not the case. Nikola actually delivered 2 pre-series trucks to TTSI at the end of last month. And this is where a lot of people also tend to get confused, because people think that these pre-series trucks are test trucks or fake trucks that Nikola basically rushed out the door. And that is simply not the case. The only difference between a pre-series truck and a production-ready truck is that the production trucks are actually built on the actual production line that Nikola has in their Coolidge, Arizona facility. And as Kim Brady said in his latest interview with Dan Ives, the production is supposed to be ready by March of 2022, which is in a couple of months. So instead, these guys had to hand build these trucks for TTSI so that they could get early access to these trucks at the end of December. And although the skeptics and the shorts might make this seem like a very bad thing, it's actually a very bullish thing, because it shows that Nikola likes to keep their word and they like to keep their potential customers happy.
So the company is worth $4.44 billion according to the market cap. Revenue, $1,000. Let's think about this. They delivered 1 truck, went up 18%, so roughly $800 million because of 1 truck being delivered. $4.4 billion value. Based on other car companies, they have to do $10 billion in sales to have the value of 4.5, because it's roughly 50% of sales, call it $9 billion. This is the thing we're talking about. Can it actually hit the future? Can it actually someday be worth it? Absolutely. But like I always say, is a great analogy. You own a home. You buy your home today. Do you pay today's value or the value it's going to be in 40 years? Because that's what you're doing when you're paying for the future of a company. You're sitting there saying, I think it'll be worth this someday, so therefore I'll pay that today. You might not believe that, but that's exactly what you're doing. It's no different than saying, oh, I paid $200,000 for my house today, but in 40 years it's going to be worth $800,000, therefore I'll pay $800,000 for it today, because I'll eventually break even on it. But you're thinking to yourself, that's the problem with these car companies. That's the problem with any hype business. You're paying for the future without letting them actually hit that future. Nikola delivered 1 truck.
So the main point that Paul is making here is that the company does not deserve to go up 18 to 20% because they delivered 1 or 2 trucks. And sure, in a vacuum that might make sense, but I think Paul here is mixing up the investment theses between growth stocks and value stocks. Now, I don't even know why these guys are analyzing Nikola stock in the first place, because at the beginning of the video they said that these guys primarily focus on value stocks, and Nikola is definitely not a value stock, it's a very high growth stock. And the argument that Paul is making, that the company delivering 1 or 2 trucks does not deserve the stock to go up by $800 million, is something that isn't very right. Because when a stock goes up by 18 to 20%, it doesn't necessarily mean that $800 million worth of money flowed into that stock that day. The stock market is driven by supply and demand, not by pure money going into it. So if there's a lot of demand for a stock and not a lot of supply, then the stock will move up very fast. And sure, on the surface, delivering 1 or 2 trucks might not seem that significant, but based on this company's history, it's actually a very significant milestone. The main short seller argument against this company over the past couple of years has been the fact that this company had no product, no revenue, no deliveries. And now that this company has actually delivered a product to a real customer in California, people are starting to take notice. And that sign of execution is exactly what made people enthusiastic about Nikola stock at the end of December. And so although I understand the point that Paul is trying to make, I definitely think he's mixing up growth investing with value investing.
So I look at Nikola, and if you bought because you saw this, because all the hypesters were like, look at this is going to the moon. This company was what was the company? 4.4 times 8. It was a $36 billion company just a year and a half ago. And now it's a $4 billion company. At some point, this is going to be the story that we talk about 10 years from now, like the tech bust. Like, how did we give a company with $1,000 in revenue a $4.5 billion value? Wait, it was a $4.5 billion value after falling 85%, 87%. These are the things, just think about it logically. Would you buy a company for $36 billion that had zero revenue based on its potential for the future when at the time Ford was valued at around $40-50 billion and sold and had hundreds of billions of dollars in revenue? Think about that for a second.
In comparison, Paul, some other companies around this price range have the names like Wendy's, Dillard's, Callaway Golf, Papa John's, Mazda. We're talking about well-established companies that have the potential for potentially, I wouldn't say a brighter future, but at least they're making money.
Look at the income statement. 2020, 143. Actually, the revenue is going down. How is their revenue going down?
Is that operating revenue? Is that $1,000?
Yeah, it's $1,000.
Oh boy. So take home message. We'll get to trading this because Mo might like the swings. But Paul, what is your take home message to someone who might be intrigued by an EV company like all the other EV companies?
Have fun. Go for it. You will wake up one day going, oh crap, what did I miss? I'm just telling you. And then come back to our channel and we'll explain it a little bit better. And it's hard, guys. It is hard that you see your friends and your friends, 16-year-old, prepubescent teenage kid making money buying all these hypes. I get it. Every single time I go on CNBC.com or something like that, it's a new article about some kid or some stay-at-home dad or some stay-at-home mom who, I don't work anymore. I just trade crypto. I just do this. I'm just a crypto expert. What makes you a crypto? I'm an EV expert. What makes you an EV expert? This is the exact same stuff I heard 20-some years ago. And back then, people said, oh, come on, the 70s, that was a totally different time. That's what they're saying now. Come on, 2000, that was a totally different time. No, it wasn't. No, it's not. I read a great quote recently. History doesn't repeat itself, but men do. That's what repeats itself. We are humans. We still make the same emotional decision. FOMO. We still sit there and see our neighbor's kid making a lot of money off something they know nothing about. But they just say, well, I know a lot about it. I'm an expert in it. What makes you expert? What makes you expert in EV?
So the points that Paul is making here actually make quite a lot of sense, and I definitely agree with his point of view about what drives the market, which is primarily our psychology and our motives. And I think this can actually be used against his argument against Nikola, which is the fact that the market is not driven purely by the fundamentals of a business. And this exactly is the difference between value investing and growth investing. If you want to build wealth, you need to invest in growth. If you want to preserve your wealth, you want to invest in value. And obviously not every single growth stock will make it. You're going to have to make sure you do your research, have the conviction, and pick the right companies that are actually executing at a high level. And that execution is exactly what I'm seeing with Nikola stock right now. So overall, I generally like the points that these guys are making in this video. I generally think that some of the points they raise are very valid. And obviously, if you're a value investor, you want to pay attention to that and not buy every single growth stock out there and buy into the hype. But like I said at the beginning, I think these guys are definitely mixing up their growth and value investments, and we all know that Nikola is a growth stock. So analyzing Nikola stock from the perspective of a value investor is definitely something that's going to cause a lot of problems. And I think that is exactly what these guys are doing in this video, and that is why for me, a lot of the points these guys make are definitely something you want to take with a grain of salt. But overall, I really like what these guys are doing on this channel. They're sharing a lot of information and keeping the retail investor informed, which is exactly what I like to see in the investment community. So make sure you guys drop a thumbs up on their video and subscribe to that channel if you haven't heard of them before. But anyways, guys, make sure to drop me a thumbs up as well if you found some value from this video, and let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think of what these guys said in their video. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.